One spell in this series does two impossible things in the same breath. It turns Shendu, restored, fully powered, unbeatable, back into a stone statue, and it rips all 12 talismans out of his body while doing it. An entire season of villain progress, reversed in one chant. Now look at who's involved. The man casting it runs an antique shop. The wizard who wrote it died 900 years ago, and the wizard who handed it over was Uncle's worst enemy, trading the deadliest secret he owned for one thing: revenge. Every season of this show ends the same way, not with Jackie's fists, but with something brewed, chanted, or improvised inside one cluttered shop in San Francisco, exorcisms performed over the phone, cures involving a graveyard and a sock, a machine that vacuums demon power out of people. Every single spell explained, starting with the one his enemy gave him and why. The spell belonged to Lopei. 900 years before the series begins, this warrior cast the original petrification on Shendu, the chi spell that turned the dragon into a stone statue and carved his 12 powers out of him, transforming them into the talismans that started this entire franchise. One spell created the show's whole premise, and for 3 seasons, that spell existed only in flashbacks, until the one man who should never have shared it decided to share it. The situation that forced it was a disaster stacked on a betrayal. Daolon Wong, the Dark Chi wizard, had resurrected Shendu into a brand new body of flesh, expecting a servant. What he got was a dragon who immediately turned on him and reabsorbed every talisman power into himself, the full set, walking around, angry. Wong survived the betrayal and made the most practical decision of his villain career. He handed Uncle the Lopei spell in exchange for amnesty and one thing more: revenge on the demon that double-crossed him. The most dangerous piece of magic in the series changed hands like a plea bargain. Then Uncle cast it, with Toru beside him and Section 13 holding the line. The words landed, the flesh hardened, and Shendu froze back into stone with a look of recognition, because the last time he heard that chant was 9 centuries earlier from Lopei himself. The spell did not stop at petrification. It pulled all 12 powers back out of the dragon's body and reformed the physical talismans on the spot, undoing an entire season of villain progress in a single incantation and restocking Section 13's vault as a side effect. Uncle wasn't finished. With Shendu handled, he turned to Wong and cast a disenchantment spell, clouding the dark wizard's staff with good chi until it went dead in his hands, stripping his powers and reverting his transformed enforcers back into ordinary crooks. Wong reached for his backup magic, a skull, a potion, a statue, and Uncle flicked each one away with 2 fingers, the way you'd swat a fly off a countertop. So the greatest spell in the show was written by a warrior, traded by a villain, and cast by a shopkeeper. It raises the obvious question of how that shopkeeper got started, and the first spell of his career was performed over a telephone. The first spell of Uncle's on-screen career is an exorcism, and he performs it long distance. In Project A for Astral, Jade borrows the sheep talisman for a joyride through the astral plane, and Shendu, a bodiless spirit at that point, slides into her empty body and wears it like a rental. The counter comes over a telephone line. Uncle chants the incantation into the receiver, the words travel through the phone, and a demon who once ruled China gets dragged out of a 12-year-old by long-distance call. Shendu's reaction on the way out makes it plain he recognized those words the way a burglar recognizes sirens. The incantation itself deserves 1 honest minute. Yumo Gui Guifai Di Zhao is genuine Cantonese, and it translates roughly to spirits, demons, ghosts, monsters, quickly leave. The most feared string of words in this universe is an old man ordering evil off the premises. The show, for the record, never translates it on screen in 5 seasons. That meaning comes from the actual language and from fan transcription, and even the spelling shifts depending on who wrote it down. The second spell is the one everybody misremembers. Season 1 ends with Shendu restored to flesh and holding all 12 talismans, and the popular memory says Uncle chanted him into stone. He did not. That spell was still 3 seasons away. His real contribution was a balm, a glowing green liquid brewed in the shop and dabbed onto Jackie's hands, the only substance that let human hands pass through a demon's body. Jackie reached into the dragon and started pulling talismans, extracting the rat, the power of motion, froze Shendu back into a statue on the spot, and Jade finished the job by blowing the statue apart with the dragon talisman. The wizard's share of the franchise's first great victory was an ointment. He was also the only person unhappy with the win. Destroying a demon instead of containing one, Uncle warned, breaks the balance between good and evil, and something stronger always fills the vacancy. Nobody listened. The next season arrived carrying 7 demons, and suddenly the ointment maker was the most important man on the planet. 7 demons, 7 portals, 7 banishments. Season 2 hands Uncle the workload of the ancient world. Shendu, riding inside Valmont's body, opens his siblings' prison doors one at a time with the Panku box, and every single door needs a spell to slam it shut. The formula never changes, and the show is careful about it. Each banishment requires 2 components, Uncle's incantation and the physical symbol of the specific immortal who sealed that demon the first time. Some of those keys got dramatic showcases. Shi Wu, the sky demon, was blasted back through his portal in New York with Han Xiangzi's flute at the exact second the demon reattached his severed tail, timing that turned a woodwind instrument into a sniper shot. Bai Ca, the water demon, fell to Li Tieguai's gourd in the 8th door, and this one came with the series' most expensive side effect. The banishing beam caught Jade on its way out and dragged her into the netherworld along with the demon. Uncle's magic worked exactly as designed, on exactly one more person than intended. The rest of the ledger reads like a strange orchestra. Pokong, the mountain demon, needed Zhanggolao's drum struck 3 times. Daigui fell to a flower, Xiaofeng to a fan, Changzhu to castanets, Colan to a lotus. An entire family of world-conquering demons, dismantled by objects you could find at a garage sale, provided an old man stood behind them chanting. The best spell of the season, though, was improvised. When Hawk Fu stole the Panku box and the endgame collapsed, Uncle grabbed the one symbol left on the table, Lu Dongbin's sword, the relic of the immortal who sealed Shendu himself, and threw it to Jackie with a banishment already rolling. The spell ripped Shendu's spirit clean out of Valmont's body. His own words for the maneuver: "There is more than one way to skin a cat." 7 sorcerers in 1 season. The 8 immortals needed a war for that. Uncle did it with borrowed instruments and a store discount, though not every spell in his ledger ended in a victory column. The Qi transfusion spell sounds like a miracle until you read the fine print. In Qi of the Vampire, a Qiangshi starts draining the family one by one, and Uncle's counter is a spell that loans life force from a healthy donor to a drained victim. It works. It also transfers the donor's personality along with the Qi, which is how Toru ended up running on Jade's energy and bouncing like a 12-year-old, while Jade received Uncle's Qi and started grumbling like a 70-year-old shopkeeper. Then the vampire drained Uncle himself, converting the team's only wizard into the enemy's thrall mid-crisis. The cure deserves a museum plaque. No blast, no banishment. The ritual called for a toadstool from a graveyard, placed inside the creature's left sock, and the sock thrown into a river. Left sock. The show never explains why the right one wouldn't work, and Uncle delivers the instructions like a man reading a prescription. It worked, for the record. Then there is the spell Uncle never cast. In the J-Team, Captain Black, a federal agent with 0 magical training, was left to mind the shop, found one of Uncle's spellbooks, and tried a little light reading out loud. He turned himself into a frog, a man with government clearance levels, undone by a paragraph, because Qi magic in this universe has no entrance exam. It is a discipline, not a bloodline, and the book does not check who is holding it. That sounds like a joke, and it is also the scariest rule in the system. A magic anyone can study is a magic anyone can study. Somewhere out there, a man had spent his life on the dark half of the same curriculum, and he had already erased the one teacher Uncle ever had. That man was Daolon Wong, and Jade gave him the nickname that stuck, the Anti-Uncle. A dark Qi wizard running the same discipline in reverse, where Uncle researches, Wong hunts. Where Uncle brews cures, Wong brews warriors. His introduction comes with a boast designed to hollow out the hero before the fight even starts. He is the Dark Master who defeated Qi Master Fong. Fong was the man who trained Uncle for 15 years. The show never puts the defeat on screen, which somehow makes it worse. Uncle's entire education has an unmarked grave in it. And the show is honest about the gap between them, which is rare for a kid's series. Uncle openly admits that Wong's raw power exceeds his own. Every victory he takes off this man comes from preparation, cunning, and the stubborn arithmetic of good Qi, never from out-muscling him. Keep that in mind for everything that follows, because it turns each win from a power fantasy into a chess move. The Season 3 Spell War proves it. When Jackie lasered the 12 talismans to dust, Uncle was the one who explained the loophole. The powers cannot be destroyed, only relocated, and they fled into 12 living animals of the Chinese zodiac scattered across the planet. Finding each one required a separate locator spell, 12 bespoke incantations for 12 moving targets, while Wong hunted the same animals with dark Qi and a head start. Then Uncle tried something genuinely reckless. In the ox head incident, rather than let the ox power sit in a findable animal, he cast a transfer spell and hid the super strength inside his own body. A clever vault. Wong's counter was uglier. He projected into the spirit realm and captured Uncle's essence, taking the vault hostage instead of cracking it. Smart spell, smarter counter, and a reminder of the honest math, Wong was winning the arms race, which is exactly why the ending lands. The war between these two wizards finished with Wong handing Uncle the Lopei spell you saw at the start. The loser of the arms race collecting the biggest prize in the series because his enemy hated Shendu more than he hated losing. Season 4 broke the toolkit. The Oni are Japanese demons, and Uncle's Cantonese incantation simply does not work on them. Immune, full stop. For 3 seasons, one chant had banished everything the writers could throw at it, and suddenly the most dangerous enemies in the series couldn't even hear it. The solution came from the apprentice. Tohru, the only Japanese member of the team, supplied the incantation that runs the entire season. Nukeru he men ja aku, roughly, come out mask of evil. For the first time in the show, Uncle was casting in a borrowed language, taught to him by his own student. The mask removal system built around those words is the most documented spell formula in the series. Every removal needs 4 base ingredients: lizard tail, wolf's bane, sulfur root, and the left eye of a newt, plus 1 key ingredient unique to each mask. Japanese silk for one, Japanese rice for another, rare seaweed, an octopus tentacle, the tears of a Japanese monkey, cherry blossom, leaves, and, for the mask on Hakufu's face, a fish, supplied on the spot by Uncle's own blowfish, which thereby became the only weapon in the series to serve as its own ammunition. The rulebook was learned the hard way. In Samurai Ratso, they reran the steel-based spell that had cleared the first mask, and it fizzled against the second. Each prison, its own key. Even Uncle's folk knowledge dated badly this season. When Toru reached for an onion against the Oni King, Uncle corrected him with total confidence. Do not be foolish. Use garlic. The onion worked. The garlic was wrong. The greatest chai wizard in the cast stood corrected on vegetable selection by his apprentice, and to his credit, he adapted immediately, enchanting a barrier of onions around Section 13 that a demon king could not cross. His last spell of the season was the strangest of his career, a binding spell keyed with a strand of Japanese samurai hair that gave Terakudo a physical body, not to empower him, to give the 10th mask a face to stick to. Uncle armed his enemy so the trap would fit. By the final season, Uncle had stopped waiting for emergencies and built a machine. The Chai-O-Matic is exactly what it sounds like it shouldn't be. An ancient Chinese compass, a forked branch, a jar, and a nozzle, assembled in the shop into a device that hunts demon power. His own explanation covers the mechanics. The compass detects the energy imbalance when demon chi activates, leads the team to the possessed object or person, and a reversal spell drains the bad chi through the nozzle into the containment jar, a vacuum cleaner for the supernatural built from clutter. Its one flaw was capacity. A single demon chi per jar, until Uncle upgraded it mid-season to hold more without bursting. The hunting season it served was Drago's, Shendu's son, loose on Earth and collecting the chai of his father's 7 demon siblings. The chai removal spell became routine fieldwork. Moon chi extracted from Drago himself, Earth chi absorbed by Jackie in an emergency, Sky chi hauled along on a school field trip in the jar, where Jade's own teacher accidentally absorbed it and spent an episode as a sky demon. The machine worked fine. The people around it were the malfunction. The decisive spell of the season was Toru's, and it failed. His absorption spell was designed to pull all 8 demon chi out of Drago at once, and it needed a sample of Drago's essence to lock on. Jade substituted a chip of Shendu's statue, reasoning that a father's DNA is close enough to a son's essence. It wasn't. Drago beat them to the finish line with his own incantation, absorbed all 8 powers in one pull, and demonstrated the new arrangement by blasting the Golden Gate Bridge. Then Shendu himself supplied the worst news in the series. Once one being holds all 8 demon chi, no spell can ever remove them. Uncle's answer to an unremovable problem was the last great pivot of his career. If the chi could not leave Drago, Drago would leave Earth. The plan that followed put 12 talismans back into Shendu's body on purpose, and it came from the apprentice. Toru's plan was the kind Uncle would have rejected from anyone else. If the demon chi cannot be removed from Drago, remove Drago from the planet. Executing it meant arming one monster to fight another, Jade handed Shendu all 12 talismans, the series' entire first season of work, reversed on purpose. While father and son tore into each other, Uncle and Toru cast the final spell of the show side by side, a joint reversal, keyed with squid, that seized Drago's own netherworld portal and turned it against him. Drago clawed for leverage, grabbed his father's tail, and both dragons went into the void together. The portal sealed behind them, taking every demon and all 12 talismans out of the world for good. Then Uncle performed his true final act, which required no ingredients. He declared Toru a full chi wizard. The last magical event of the series is a graduation. So, out of 30-plus spells across 5 seasons, which one was the greatest? The improvised sword banishment has the strongest claim to pure skill. No prep, a relic thrown across a room with a spell already rolling. But the answer is still the petrification. Biggest target, biggest stage, a season of villain progress reversed in one chant. And the part that looks like a weakness makes it the perfect Uncle spell. He didn't write it. Lopei created it, Daolon Wong traded it, Uncle executed it, and the man in the middle won because he was humble enough to use another man's work. That was the whole discipline. Across 5 seasons, not one war ended on a punch. Every finale closed on something researched, brewed, borrowed, or taught.
One more thing!
As the man himself would say, the shop stays open.